For 250 years, America's military has defended more than land and borders. It's defended ideals, freedom, liberty, and the belief that our rights come from God, not government. Welcome to Faith and Freedom 250.
The roots of faith in the United States can be traced back to its founding generation. Coming of age during the Great Awakening in the mid-18th century, living in communities where churches played a vital role in daily life, Americans discovered that their earthly lives were intertwined with their spiritual lives. Faith wasn't something just reserved for Sundays. It was woven into how people understood their purpose, their responsibilities, and their freedoms. As tensions rose in the 1770s, churches often became meeting places where grievances were aired, dissent was voiced, and the plans for rebellion were formed. When the first shots were fired at Lexington and Concord, local clergymen were there defending their communities. From the very beginning, faith and America's military were bound together.
In many ways, both our freedoms and the defense of our nation have roots in the faith of our ancestors. Their world expected public expressions of belief. They shared a common education shaped by Christian teachings, read the same Bible, and ordered their lives around a communal liturgical calendar. Society itself was structured on faith-based principles. So, when the time came to form a military force, there was little doubt it would reflect the same moral framework, one shaped by Christian values, leadership, and purpose. From the American Revolution to the present day, faith has continued to play a key role in the U.S. military.
No one embodied that connection more clearly than George Washington. Through his public actions, orders, and words, General Washington kept faith at the forefront of the fight for freedom. Early in the war, he organized troops and ensured that many regiments included chaplains, men tasked with preaching courage and sacrifice and framing the conflict as a righteous stand against oppression. Washington ordered days of fasting and prayer for his troops. He issued proclamations invoking God's blessing and mercy. The Second Continental Congress followed suit with similar proclamations to the colonies. Washington often referred to God as divine providence and insisted on a high moral code, not just for officers, but for every soldier. His leadership helped shape the idea of the Christian soldier, a warrior defined by valor and guided by virtue.
George Washington frequently invoked the Almighty in his addresses to the troops. Before the Battle of Long Island in 1776, he declared, quote, "The fate of unborn millions will now depend, under God, on the courage of the army," end quote. That moral foundation Washington established continued to shape the character of America's military as the young nation matured. In the 19th century, faith became even more deeply embedded in military culture. The U.S. Military Academy at West Point and the Naval Academy at Annapolis both developed programs and traditions centered on character, duty, and moral integrity, all ideals rooted in a Christian worldview. At the dawn of the Civil War, both the North and South framed their causes as a moral struggle for survival. During the war itself, revivals were common among the troops. Officers with deep religious convictions, including trained ministers, delivered speeches that were part command, part sermon before leading men into battle.
Outside the ranks of the military, popular culture was drawn to the words of songs such as the Battle Hymn of the Republic and Onward Christian Soldiers. These hymns stirred the nation and rallied communities at home. In the world wars of the 20th century, faith among the troops became more firmly institutionalized. The chaplain corps was organized to include Protestant ministers, Catholic priests, and Jewish rabbis, all serving side by side to meet the spiritual needs of the tens of thousands sent overseas. Chaplains lived among the troops, offering constant access to prayer and counsel. Soldiers were issued pocket Bibles, small but powerful reminders of hope, courage, and solace.
Support on the home front poured in from faith-based organizations like the YMCA and the Salvation Army. Wartime presidents such as Woodrow Wilson and Franklin Roosevelt led the nation in prayer and spoke openly about the idea of a just war, framing these conflicts as moral struggles, not just military ones. As open conflicts turned into the Cold War, America's military was tasked with defending not only the nation, but Western ideals of freedom and liberty. The struggle was often described as a moral and spiritual battle between Christian liberty and godless communism. Faith was once more in the forefront on the battlefield and at home. Presidents from Dwight Eisenhower to Ronald Reagan openly connected faith to national defense. Reagan frequently referenced John Winthrop's vision of America as a city on a hill, drawing on a deeply religious understanding of the nation's role in the world.
Throughout conflicts from Korea to Vietnam to Operation Desert Storm, chaplains continued to face new challenges as emotional and psychological wounds became as common as physical ones. Today, the American military still maintains a strong connection to faith, even as society has changed and court rulings have limited religion in public life. The armed forces remain one of the few national institutions where faith-based chaplaincy is constitutionally protected. Christian organizations such as Officers Christian Fellowship, Navigators Military Ministry, and the Military Bible Association continue to thrive in the United States military.
In this episode, we're exploring how Christian faith has shaped the character, purpose, and moral foundation of America's armed forces from the Revolutionary War to today. 250 years after America's military was formed, Christian virtue still shapes the American serviceman and servicewoman. Courage tempered by conscience, strength guided by service, and victory measured by honor. Our nation's defense has never been purely physical. It's always included a moral and spiritual dimension. The founders believed our freedoms came from God, and that defending those freedoms was a sacred duty, not only for ourselves, but for future generations. In one of the darkest hours in the Revolution, George Washington wrote, "To the distinguished character of a patriot, it should be our highest glory to add the more distinguished character of a Christian." For nearly 2.5 centuries, America's military has stood firm. Its courage shaped by conscience, its power guided by prayer, and its victories measured by honor. This is faith in action.